It's the 15th spot, and it is, not surprisingly, another legend. This is Mikhail Tal, born in 1936 in Riga, in Latvia, passes away in 1992 at the age of 55. Peter, Mikhail Tal, one-time world champion, still leaves behind quite a legacy, no?
Yeah, well, I mean, you say it best, right? He became the world champion. He actually beat Spotvinik very convincingly in a match where, well, he's the very young challenger, and due to sort of his lack of, let's say, good results against the very best players, people seem to at the time thought that he wouldn't be the favorite at all against Botvinnik, but he completely crushes him in a match in a very cool and convincing manner. And also, well, he has actually quite some longevity. I mean, within a sort of 8-year span, I think from 58 to 66, more than 3 years, he's number one on the Sonas rating list. I think 3 years, 2 months. And his peak rating is 27.99 according to Sonas. So we're talking plus 3 years as the best player in the world and a world championship win, but then also a loss in a way. So, I mean, Tal is not far from actually getting up higher on the list, but the competition is harder where we are right now. But amazing results, and of course also an incredibly popular player due to his style and such, right?
Yeah, still my favorite chess book, although it's not exactly my chess style. Life and Games of Mikhail Tal is such an entertaining book. I recommend it to everybody. Yeah, we should also mention he had this second act where I think it's in the 70s. He has these 2 very long streaks of all of a sudden being undefeated. I don't recall the exact numbers. I think once for like 80 games and then another for 95, which held up at least at the highest levels for quite a while.
No, I have seen Tal play at the World Cup in Skellefteå, or actually I think so, but I'm not sure because we arrived late for the round and there was really a lot of quick draws which could have included Tal. So I simply don't remember if I've seen the person or not. But you mentioned his book, The Life of Games, Life and Games. I actually really like his match book against Botvinnik because it's very honest and interesting, and he tells openly about his thoughts. And I really like, there's one place where he said that, yeah, during this World Championship match, I had this strange thought. I thought that, well, if I make a quick draw now, I can still manage to get to the theater with my wife in the evening and such, right? It's sort of, he actually just tells what he talks about, doesn't care about image or anything like this. No, he's a very interesting figure, a chess player, but also as a person.
Yeah, of course, chess-wise, he's most well known for his sacrifices, which often were called very speculative at the time. I think engines, to some extent, showed that more often than not, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And also, he was the first to do this on a regular basis with so much class behind it. So he is very much a special player. Results-wise, he's not much distinguished from this very, very exclusive company he's in, because I think you could put Tal in the top 10, and very few chess fans would complain. But as he's only a one-time world champion, we have him at 15, of course.
No, I think you were the one opening my eyes to that. He was, I mean, for instance, well, if we had just had to guess without checking, I would have put Spassky ahead of Tal. But he actually has considerably more years and as the best player in the world and such. And
right.
Maybe for me, just his sort of too flashy style and image have sort of demoted him a bit in sort of, and well, that is simply wrong. I mean, no, he's very serious in that respect, obviously.
Yeah. No, that whole gang, we talked about it a little in this Spassky video, these Soviet champions of the times, Smyslov, Spassky, Tal, and Petrosian. They're all in a way similar, and you could probably defend ranking them in whatever way, when of course the cross-era era comparisons will be much tougher, how they compare to whatever. Kramnik, Vichy, or Stein is on the other end, like... You can probably also defend any position. What there is no arguing with is what a great of the game, Mikhail.
But do you think he's made a legacy in a sort of chess stylistic way, or you think that somehow his style has been refuted?
I don't know. I think it comes and goes in a way, no, depending on which players are currently dominant. I don't think
it's image, as you say. I mean, then he has a maybe plus 100 games non-losing streak and such later, right? I mean, we will focus on the brilliance and maybe not have checked, what he actually did on his way to the top fully and such. But he's a legendary character, obviously, and such, and very popular in his native.
No, I think his name is maybe even slightly bigger than his results, which are, of course, also amazing. But for me, it feels we put him on 15 because we value very highly this dominance. How many World Championship matches do you win? How long are you the number one? And so on. And there, he loses to Botvinnik in 61, the rematch heavily. He's struggling with well-documented health problems at that time. I don't think he comes close to that close.
No, I think
to the title again after that.
I mean, from winning the title so young and being the best player in the world, that he doesn't get a shot at the title anymore is shocking in a way, right? As you say, there is actually non-chess factors which probably play a bigger role there than pure talent and such, right? So I mean,
sure.
That's very clear. So I mean, he has the projection to go, to stay there on the top forever, but maybe, well, as you say, unhealthy lifestyle, lots of things comes into play, I think, right?
Yeah. He loses to your boy Bent Larsen in 65, I believe, in this semi-final.
Yeah, then he beats him later in a very interesting match and such. But
he's also a 6-time Soviet champion, which I would imagine were never easy tournaments. All this stuff.
Not exactly, no. So
great player, great champion, beloved by many, both for his personality, his writing, and his style. So
I think also, I mean, there is a famous anecdote. He played the Nemtsovich Memorial in Denmark. I'm not sure, but I think it was in 85. And he was sitting there playing a lot of blitz games. And I think one of the world junior champion, Kurt Hansen, was asking him, well, why do you do that? It's sort of unserious. And I think Tal just said, well, I like it, right? I mean, it's sort of, it gives away his attitude to life and such. And I think maybe also to chess, right? I mean, it's not, he really seemed to love life. He seemed to love chess, right?
Yeah. Let's look at one of the key games from his match against Mikhail Botvinnik. Pretty famous game. Tal has the black pieces. They play this kind of King's Indian, knight b7, castle e5, e4, c6, h3, queen b6. No longer the main line, but was a topical line. Or maybe still is a topical line. So he also had some ideas.
No, it was. I think this was considered to be the cool move and what they played, right? Then I think later came a phase where they started to play c5 and some pawn sacrifices. I think numerous people did it against Kasparov. I cannot remember who did it first. It could actually be Yusupov, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah. C5 is a move. This DC, however this goes.
D5, knight e8, e6.
E6 takes knight g5. This kind of business. I guess rook e1 is maybe the most critical move, but I'm just saying that for the times, this is, he did.
This was considered standard, which is something that has somewhat left the building, right?
Frank plays d5, which I guess is, in a way, the dogmatic move. You grab the space, but it's not considered the refutation of the setup. The black pieces get squares. fc8, knight h5.
It strikes me as typical, right?
Some aggression,
But winning takes the center. I mean, it looks very healthy and such, but counterplay.
Yeah, but I've played these positions. It's never so easy to actually seize control of the queen side. Like the queen comes to b4 and queen b4 played, queen e2, rook c4. I don't know about rook c4, but Tal is making active moves as you would expect. And now the game really takes off. He goes f5, ef, bishop f5, rook to a1, and the famous knight sacrifice. Knight to f4, which I have to admit I haven't checked recently, but I think this is considered to be correct, right? It's
also my recollection. Again, we could have checked it recently, but we have chosen not really to do these kind of things because that's not what it's about. But I think it generally holds up. Maybe it's considered to be a draw, and I think there is some kind of very tactical sequence that kind of holds or does fine for white. But also that will go. I mean, Tal is trying to win a game of chess here, right? And he plays very logical with a lot of dynamics. But also, imagine how exciting it is. I mean, it's a very young challenger against a reigning old champion. Maybe you can compare it to Magnus Vichy, but Magnus had been around for quite a while at that point.
Yeah, right? Also Magnus was a favorite on paper in that
exactly.
match.
I mean, here it's the young underdog who is just going at the king like there is no tomorrow, basically, and very successful. I mean, it must have made headlines and what. So yeah.
And the drama continues here. Rook b1. Many people, I guess, would take, but Tal goes pawn to f3.
Yeah. I mean,
he's all about opening things further. Rook b2.
It's not so difficult when you have seen it. Okay, so you have piece up here, but probably some pins takes care of this.
Yeah, 2 pawns. This guy's still around and very hard to cover everything. The questions continue. Bishop f4.
Also, when we saw earlier, basically all Tal's pieces were in good spots except the bishop on g7. But, that has changed.
Yeah, cost a piece, but there it is. 92. Botvinnik is trying to bail out, but this, of course, is now a very thankless endgame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's chess we understand, right?
Speak for yourself, but yeah. Black is in control here. And Tal converts. Yeah. The bishops are just too strong, of course, and he goes for this rook endgame, which I guess is just easily
looks
winning.
Completely hopeless.
Yeah. The king is cut off now. Hopeless? No, just a good game, and I'm assuming Botvinnik did not lose a lot of white games in these c4, d4, g3 structures.
I mean, these days, losing a game with white in a world championship match is kind of rare and seen as something, upsetting happening, right? While here he just crushes like this. And I think the score was +1, and now it became +2, but it could be even more than that, actually. But
yeah.
It's incredibly dominating, right? And if at that point, Tal must really have been projected to, be the, figure who would take all the trophies for the upcoming years. But it didn't really exactly pan out like that, although he had a pretty good career.
Yeah. No, I mentioned the health problems. You could also argue, which I guess is also true, that Botvinnik studied his style after playing that match. He also understood him better. We know how serious Botvinnik was about these things. While he probably at that age, at a young age, and dealing with these health issues, he wasn't completely rounded as a chess player when it comes to whatever maneuvering. I think later he was. But how strong he was, you can see from this game.
Yeah, no, it's true that in the revenge match, Botvinnik seemed to take a very pragmatic, technical approach to it, and quite efficiently and such. And maybe also it characterized Tal that he didn't seem to care too much about figuring out a counter strategy beforehand or something like that. But
but really, I think he was also dealing with other.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like only a year.
You're saying that survival comes before match strategy. I'll have to admit with that.
All right, that is one of the greats, Mikhail Tal, at 15. Thanks for watching.